Disclaimer: the following subject matter discussed in this video contains gratuitous amounts of the following. Please feel free to click off the video if the subject matter ever makes you feel uncomfortable in any sort of way. And also, please do not view this video if you are not of age. But it's not like I can stop you, so... The year is 1989. You and your boys just finished up a fun-filled evening playing Contra, Super Mario Bros. 3, and Mega Man 2 on your NES. At this point, your buddies have already said their goodbyes and went home, leaving you alone in your empty abode. Your parents aren't around either, as they're out enjoying their own evening together. It's just you, your empty home, and a long night awaiting you. Naturally, the next thought in your mind, the next thing that you're gonna spend your precious alone time on is exactly what any young, enterprising male would think of in this scenario. I'm gonna watch a Japanese erotic horror anime film.
5 times 5 is 35, because it rhymes, sort of.
If your mind was in the gutter there for a second, don't worry, because I still got you covered. We're gonna be taking a look at a manga series that's over 30 years old, that popularized one of the most infamous H tropes of all time. The cult classic 1986 ero horror manga by Toshio Maeda. And more specifically, I'm going to be talking about his 1989 film adaptation, Urotsukidoji. Flashback to a time long ago, to an oft-forgotten age in the ancient, much more peaceful times. November 27th, 2020. I was spending my Friday afternoon listening to the Trash Taste podcast, the anime podcast where they don't actually talk about anime that much, but it's still entertaining anyways. Fortunately, when the Monopoly Man, the Monkey Brain, and Bill Tai the Gacha Guy talk about anime, it's just as entertaining as hearing them talk about college, or Japanese cuisine, or toys that you can play with a boy.
Can you explain what the pussy of the round table is? Right away, please.
During their recent episode on Redacted, the Trash Taste Boys talk about all types of Redacted, including those with budgets way higher than a normal one would have. And a kind soul in the comments brought up some other high-quality H works as well, which included, hey look, it's the subject of this video. My curiosity got the better of me and I googled the series to check out its Wikipedia page, because I needed to know, how did an H film make it to theaters? Amusement parks around the globe may be closed right now due to the Rona, but that's okay, because I have you to thank, Oda King 77077, because with your help, I was able to experience the feeling of being on a roller coaster from the comfort of my own home by reading the Urotsukidoji Wikipedia page. Let's start off by clarifying things. Urotsukidoji is not an H film. It's an ero horror anime film. So technically, I lied to you. This title is a lie. But, while technically not straight up H, I think having all of this may just shoot this work past H territory into that special hotbox room where Satan passes you a blunt that gives you eternal food poisoning. This work happily occupies a spot in the twilight zone of lewds, where surreal experiences transcend the barriers of traditional popcorn to become art. Such examples of similar works would include Metamorphosis and Strokomon.
Who's ever seen a Pikachu and gone, I want to fuck that?
Anyways, let's go through this roller coaster together, shall we? The very first speed boost that you encounter on the roller coaster is equivalent to reading the English subtitle of Urotsukidoji, Legend of the Overfiend. That subtitle goes way harder than it should. It sounds like the debut album of a grunge band or something, and I'm all for it. You may look at the fact that this isn't actually an H manga and think, oh, thank God, I can still go to church without Jesus dropping a couple of holy debuffs on me. But then you remember the fact that this is an ero horror manga, and then you realize that this risque genre includes books that have Cthulhu's with tits on its cover, and then anxiety begins to set in, like the sudden jolt of the roller coaster cart as it begins to ascend up the big drop. And as you ascend this roller coaster slowly, taking in all the sights, like how the manga was serialized in a magazine called Manga Erotopia, which sounds like the setting of a futuristic capitalist dystopia, and how the series has elements of dark humor intertwined with all of the hot and heavy horror elements, or how they decided to add all of these things for the film that weren't in the original manga, because hey, why not? We're already going to hell, we might as well dig a bit deeper so we can fit all of my friends in here inside Satan's hotbox. And just as you reach the tippy top of the big drop, and you look down at the ground 60 bajillion miles below you, you see it out of the corner of your eye. Firstly, Secondly, you did this. You made this scene happen, you motherfucker. Well, yes, but technically, no. There's two different people we can thank here. So who is this cat liquid connoisseur, this trailblazer of squeamish, squid-shaped seduction? Toshio Maeda. Hold up, Toshio Maeda technically is not the man responsible for the very first marriage of women in tentacles. The pastor of that first union would be Hokusai, the luminary behind the famous 1814 woodblock painting, The Dream of the Fisherman's Wife. But the first usage of tentacle-based crevice exploration in an animated work also wouldn't go to Maeda, sorry. That honor goes to the 1986 horror animation Guyver Out of Control, which is a loose adaptation of a prolific seinen manga called Bio Booster Armor Guyver, which is still being serialized over 30 years later. The fact that a manga as old as Guyver is able to share serialization time with works such as Nichijou and Bungo Stray Dogs is pretty darn neat. While not the first to do it, Maeda's work was what popularized the genre of tentacle fun times into the nationally associated fetish it is today. Maeda's original manga, which began serialization in the same year that Guyver's OVA debuted, 1986, was strictly an adult manga. Stuff happened in it. A lot of stuff that I can't say without getting hit by YouTube's corporate backhand. The story involves the titular Overfiend, or Chojin, who is hidden somewhere on planet Earth. Every 3,000 years, the Overfiend unites the three realms: the realm of the demons, the realm of the man-beasts, and the realm of the humans. One warrior from the realm of the man-beasts ends up taking the responsibility of finding the Overfiend and ensuring his safety because apparently, the Overfiend is going to make the world a better place, which is really cool, and the man-beast guy really wants to see what it's like and whether or not they're going to bring back the McRib or not. The movie takes several liberties with its plot compared to the manga, foregoing some of the finer details to focus on the hunt for the Overfiend, and also all of this stuff. The raunchiness of the entire ordeal can be traced back to the original source material, and the time it was published in. As stated by Maeda himself in an interview with Sake-Drenched Postcards, "At the time, I was dealing with manga for an adult magazine. I really wanted to create something different, but the editor wanted me to create some regular manga for adults, like a typical type of salaryman falling in love with an office lady, such type of boring story. But I just wanted to make something different. At the time, pre-Urotsukidoji, it was illegal to create a sensual scene in bed. I thought I should do something to avoid drawing such a normal sensual scene. So I just created a creature. His tentacle is not a redacted as a pretext. I could say, as an excuse, this is not a redacted. This is just a part of the creature. You know, the creatures. They don't have a gender. A creature is a creature. So it is not obscene, not illegal. Drawing intercourse was, and is, illegal in Japan. That is our big headache, to create such a sensual scene. We are always using any type of trick. Maeda spent all this time and thought into skirting around Japanese laws in order to get his manga published, and it ended up paying off. His unique approach to adult themes solidified his place within the history books of manga. All that effort spent preparing this sublime yet subdued dish, only for another dude to garnish it with grapes, without the G, and also incredible violence. Hideki Takayama. I couldn't find a picture of this guy, so I guess I'll just slap a pic of another Hideki here. There we go. Takayama directed the 1987 film adaptation of Urotsukidoji and was responsible for adding all of this extra stuff on top of the manga's already perverted themes of horror. Which is kind of funny, since adding all of this stuff kind of goes against what Maeda was trying to do in the first place with adding tentacles, to dodge Japanese censorship law. But hey, Maeda himself liked the film adaptation enough to call Takayama's work brilliant, and also cruel, and sadistic, and repugnant. But knowing the source material, he definitely meant this as a compliment. Alright, enough fluff.
So let's just jump into it.
When and where did this 1989 cult classic film that features a ton of violence and adult themes actually get aired? Which theater? Perhaps in a Japanese theater in the 80s? A private screening to a few select industry members in a time long forgotten? Well, actually, the most recent screening of Urotsukidoji at a high-profile cinema was at, drumroll please, the Nighthawk Dine-In Cinema in Brooklyn, New York, in 2018. Okay, so the original film made its way to the States in the 80s via direct-to-video VHS tape. Remember those things? You know, before the United States was passing around the Rona like hot potatoes, they were doing it with anime tapes. It was the only real way to experience Japanese animation during a time with a primitive internet. However, as decades have passed and films have been immortalized in the time, people have been wanting to experience their favorite movies from the past on the silver screens of today. And I don't blame them for that, that shit is hype. Urotsukidoji did have some screenings around the time of its release, but it is also among other cult films to be able to receive screenings even to this day. Nighthawk Cinema is an independent dine-in establishment as well, so you could realistically round up a few of your boys and enjoy a nice evening taste of the drops of God, as the demons on screen taste their own drops of God, if you know what I mean. So how about the actual film itself? How is it? Well,
One little sniff of pussy and you lose it.
it's something. Even more so since I actually watched the dub, which is...
You're supposed to build a better world. Don't you want to be a part of it?
It's something. The film begins with a demonic voice behind a red smoke talking about how humans are shit and just dumping a whole lot of exposition. So basically, there are the three worlds that I mentioned earlier. The human world Ningen, demon world Majin or Makai, and the man-beast world, Jujin or Jujinkai. And then there's also our boy the Chojin, aka the Overfiend, who is set to unite these three worlds every 3,000 years. The Chojin is currently hidden somewhere in the world of Ningen, laying dormant inside of the body of a human. One of the man-beasts has been looking for this human host for the last 300 years, to no success unfortunately. So anyways, here's a bunch of demons fucking. We are then introduced to the shimmering Myojin University in Osaka, Tokyo, where the men's basketball team drains buckets by chucking the ball with one hand. We are also introduced to our protagonist, well, the first of them, Tatsuo Nagumo. He's spitting his meat stick in the girls' locker room to his crush, and again, inside of a bin of volleyballs. What a great character introduction. We also get to meet the other main characters as well, Akemi Ito, a popular gymnast who is the subject of Nagumo's joystick gameplay. As well, Yorichi Ozaki, the guy who shot the basketball like a shot put ball and also enjoys the taste of a liar.
See you later, dickface.
If you're looking for the scene that ended up making Calamari Funtime famous, then you don't have to wait very long, because it happens within the first 10 minutes of the movie. We're introduced to a demon who sicks their tentacles onto Ito, followed by the introduction of our other main protagonist and my personal favorite character in the film, the man-beast himself, Amano Gyaku. This guy, this guy. He may look like a Dragon Ball Extra character at times, but damn if he isn't the dude who gets stuff done in this movie. He's assertive.
What the fuck? I can't take this. I'm going in. Don't!
He's confident, and he knows how to fight. Just look at this man, his severed hand is even firing a laser beam. This guy is insane and I love it. Oh yeah, he also has a sister, Megumi Amano, who looks like Bulma, and is also canonically a nymphomaniac, good to know. Both siblings hail from the world of man-beasts, Jujinkai, and they've both been searching for the Overfiend / Chojin for the last few hundred years. It's only recently though that they've begun to believe that they found their guy. Megumi thinks that Nagumo is the Overfiend, while Amano thinks that the facelicker guy, Ozaki, is the Chojin. Spoiler, Megumi is right, but for a second the movie fakes us out and tries to lead us to believe that Ozaki is the Chojin. He has this whole scene where he's scoring and then suddenly his dick starts glowing, and then there's also a nicely choreographed action scene where he turns into a demon and wrecks a few monsters, and then he ends up turning into a half-finished Sans Undertale cosplay. The only reason he ended up turning into a demonic creature in the first place though, was because of this scene. Remember that? When he licked the blood off of Nagumo's face? Yeah, he ended up getting Chojin fluid into his system because of that. Yep, that awkward face licking scene was actually a Chekhov's gun this whole time. God, this movie is weird. Anyways, Nagumo and Ito confess to one another within the first 30 minutes of the film, which is record time, and then they break up in record time as well. And then Truck-kun makes his regular visit, and Nagumo fucking dies. This is the guy you spent 300 years looking for? Well, yeah, actually. Nagumo ends up transforming into a monster even though he's technically supposed to be dead. And then he introduces a nurse to Grapes without the G before turning her into a grapevine of flesh, and also absorbing everyone in the hospital into his tentacles as he grows to kaiju size and wreaks havoc, slaughtering hundreds of innocent civilians. You know, the usual kind of stuff that happens when you get hit by Truck-kun.
The next day.
The massacre of hundreds becomes headlining news the next morning, but nobody seems to mention the fact that there was a giant kaiju beast in the middle of it all. Huh, how weird. Also, Nagumo is alive again. Somehow. And also, he's with Ito now. How nice. But uh-oh, here comes a new challenger.
Fucking Nagumo.
It's Nikki, a man who just can't stop taking L's in his life. He's got abusive parents, his crush was taken by another dude who's technically supposed to be dead, and he's just a loser all around. Honestly, more has been done to make me feel for this guy than Nagumo.
Come with me. I'll show you a real good time.
Never mind, Nikki is the luckiest man alive. Meanwhile, Amino and Megumi take Nagumo and Ito on a magical road trip of sorts to their homeworld and introduces them to
The symbol of Jujinkai.
the interior of an unfilled spring roll. Amino and Megumi also introduce the two humans to their master, who at them until they leave for some reason. I wonder what Nikki's doing.
Suck it, you shit.
The invitation that Nikki got from the girl turns out to be a ploy to embarrass him. Okay, I know this scene is supposed to be for us to feel for Nikki, but come on. How can I take this seriously? Oh, and also, holy fuck, this girl's hot. Too bad she and her friends die as soon as the demons from the demon world of Makai appear to make a deal with Nikki that he can't refuse.
I give you the instrument.
In exchange for a demonic power upgrade, all Nikki has to do is chop off his existing rod and replace it with the one the demons gave him. There's gotta be an easier way to do this, right? Like maybe bargaining your soul or something, signing a contract, you know, anything that doesn't involve a permanent circumcision. Anyways, he does that and oh wow, it actually worked, huh? Nikki powers up into a Yu Yu Hakusho extra and also joins the rest of the cast in producing banger one-liners.
Shut the fuck up, you bitch!
Sometimes it feels like stuff just happens in this movie, and for the next while, stuff happens. Like this guy, who's apparently Amano's arch nemesis or something. What's his name?
Suikakuju.
Yeah, that. Amano and his arch nemesis then proceed to have a nice little scrap, and it's actually a pretty cool fight scene with a lot of property damage. Oh yeah, also Nagumo and Ito almost do a thing, but Nagumo breaks the any % world record for disappointment. I wonder what Nikki's doing.
Akemi!
Then comes the weirdest, most hormone-charged hostage situation of all time. Nikki
Nice pussy too, huh?
gives some compliments to Ito, and then Nagumo gets hit by the 21st century version of Unlimited Blade Works. God damn it, he died again. Ito tries bargaining with Nikki to save Nagumo, and he's just like, yeah, go butter your fingers or something, haha. And then she actually does it, and it's really awkward. Meanwhile, Amino does some stuff. He also visits his master once again, and then he gets sent to the future somehow. Anyways, it turns out Amano isn't the best judge of character, because in the future everyone is either dead or in the process of dying because of the Chojin guy he was looking for, who's currently in the process of dyeing the world red. Good job, Amano. You did this. Back in the present day, Nikki...
Fucking monster. I've got your sperm, now your blood.
fucking dies. Nagumo, somehow naked now, runs off, ashamed for having killed one of Ito's closest friends. Even though Nikki and Ito never really had a chance romantically, the two were still buds. Despite Nagumo's act, Ito follows him to an undisclosed location, where they attempt to talk it out. Ito and Nagumo mend their relationship once again, with Ito accepting Nagumo for who he is, despite the fact that he disemboweled Nikki and killed him in front of her. And then Nagumo accepts himself, and Ito's love for him as well. I actually really like this scene, especially with the symbolism of the locker. Back at the start of the movie, Nagumo was alone, hiding in the locker to watch Ito from afar with less than savory motivations. And then he ran off when she went looking for him. This time, however, when Ito goes looking for Nagumo in the locker, he stays. Despite the fact that he's in his most vulnerable state right now, butt naked, blood on his hand, his mind in a haze of turmoil. And yet, despite being in this state, Ito still accepts him for who he is, because she loves him that much. It's kind of tear-jerking, honestly.
Nagumo, open up.
Meanwhile, Amano comes back to the present like, oh fuck, I was wrong. And he rounds up all his friends and his sister to do stuff. But it's a tad too late, because Nagumo has already begun transforming into a monster once again while he was plowing Ito, who really liked it for some reason. Oh yeah, also there's this scene.
What do you mean?
I didn't edit that. The film is just cut like that. The instant Nagumo nuts inside of Ito, the entire world goes to shit. Nagumo transforms into a giant world-ending kaiju once again, and this time he uses Kaisa's Q to destroy the entire city. Oh, wait, what's that? Oh, are we about to get a kaiju fight? In this movie about demons and grapes and the depravity of mankind? Oh my god, what's going on? Unfortunately, the kaiju summoned from the sea fails to stop Nagumo as he proceeds to fuck up the city and also beat up Amino real good. What follows is the sudden arrival of philosophy. As it turns out, the Chojin is not actually Nagumo, but the unborn child of Nagumo and Ito after they banged. The Chojin has used his mother, Ito, as a vessel to speak to Amino. The Chojin tells Amino that its father, Nagumo, is a tool being used to destroy the world so that everything can be barren for the beginning of the Chojin's new world, all without the leechery, debauchery, and depravity of the current world. So basically, the Chojin is going to make a new and improved world, without strippers and hookers. Ito manages to regain control of her body for a bit, and she tries to speak with Nagumo and begs for him to kill her. For an uncomfortable amount of time, and with a tone that's strangely erotic.
Nagumo, you have the power. I love you. Please kill me. If you kill me now, the children will die as well. You will die too. Nagumo, let's choose to die together. Nagumo, kill me. Kill me, Nagumo.
Ito gets sealed into the Osaka castle to protect the Chojin until it's born. Kaiju Nagumo resumes making the world look like a Virtual Boy game. And Amino and Megumi are left to figure out how to stop the Chojin from being born within the next 100 years and turning the world to shit. The narrator from the start of the film is revealed to be the Chojin himself, as he delivers a speech nearly identical to the one that he gave at the start of the film, as destruction and despair cloud the world. The end. The movie was, On one hand, I like some aspects of it. The action sequences were pretty impressive. The song that played when Amino and his arch nemesis fought was a banger. Amino himself is the fucking OG. And also this girl's really hot. I cannot stress that enough. Please deliver that foot to my esophagus, thank you. But overall, the movie is definitely flawed. Like how suddenly Nikki appeared into the plot and how quickly he disappeared. How little Amino's arch nemesis actually contributed to the story. And honestly, many of the more lewd scenes in this film didn't add a whole lot to the story. Like, I don't think that nurse lady needed to die. And also, that scene where Ito and Nagumo tried to do something and then Nagumo beat the 80% world record for nutting, it was kind of meaningless beyond setting up Ito's kidnapping. And also the scene where Nikki asked Ito to butter herself up to save Nagumo's life was really awkward and clashed with the tone of despair that the scene was trying to build up beforehand. Some of the flaws, like how some things were kinda rushed, made sense, seeing as this film is actually a summary of a 12-episode OVA series that spanned from 1987 to 1989. But some of the stuff, like the hostage scene, was just kind of fundamentally flawed to begin with. Still though, the movie was pretty fun to watch. The action is nice, and the story, despite being a jumbled mess of plot checkpoints, has coherent enough beats that by the end you do feel like you did watch something happen. A lot of stuff happened. A lot of stuff related to grapes without the G. I can understand the appeal of Legend of the Overfiend too. You won't find anything like this in the modern anime industry, not at all. It's very much a product of its own time, when Japanese censorship laws weren't as condensed or set in stone yet, and the idea of tentacles at the time was just limited to izakaya menus. It manages to portray its themes of debauchery and humans being sacks of shit pretty well, and also the dub is solid gold. I'm pretty glad I watched it dubbed because the voice acting, well, actually mostly competent and pretty good, also had some pretty hilarious moments that enhanced my enjoyment of the film.
Be there, asshole! Yeah.
Even with its shortcomings, Urotsukidoji is still a blast to watch, even to this day. I don't think it holds up particularly well, and it's absolutely not everyone's cup of tea, or something that you can recommend to the boys without getting the Kuma roll on your Discord server. But it kept me entertained throughout, and ultimately that's what a good movie should do. It was fascinating to look back at this piece of entertainment and look at it beyond just what it brought to the fetish table, and to what it brought to the greater anime sphere as a whole. Would I go and see this movie in theaters if given the chance?
One little sniff of pussy and you lose it.
No. But it'd probably be fun if I did go. I titled this video, well, this. But in all honesty, Urotsukidoji deserves much more than just being known as that one H film from 1989 that made calamari look very, very tasty in a lot of different ways. It tackles a lot of subjects that you don't really see a lot in anime anymore, and it helped pave the way for the future of not just adult anime and manga, but erotic media in general. And it's not just Urotsukidoji that paved the way. Many of Maeda's other works, such as The Blue Girl and Demon Beast Invasion, helped build Japanese adult manga and film into what it is today. Maeda even received a Lifetime Achievement Award for his work back in 2001, where he was acknowledged as the most influential erotic manga artist in Japan, and the foundation for the entire ero-grotesque genre of Japanese anime. This man has even asked for his epitaph to read Tentacle Master, for heaven's sake. He's clearly proud of what he has accomplished, and he has every reason to. What he has bestowed upon the world is a plate unlike any other, unique, one of a kind, and absolutely not a meal that everyone will enjoy. Probably most won't, actually. But regardless, you gotta respect the effort, impact, and legacy of the entire thing. And for those that do like the plate that he has served up, well, I'm sure they have nothing but compliments for the chef.
This isn't a word I would usually use to describe a sex scene, but the sex scenes in this fucking hentai are epic. They're epic, right? Like normally I don't imagine fucking do you know what I imagine going on?
Hey, thanks for watching the video. It took me a long time to make this, so I'd appreciate it if you liked the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it. Anyways, I'm getting dragged to Satan's hotbox now. I'm gonna see you guys later. Bye.